All right, here we go. Michael Jai White. Welcome back to VladTV.
Yeah, it's him again.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Well, we can't start this off without talking about Diddy.
I thought so.
Yes, no surprise from anyone here. His LA and Miami homes were just raided. His sons, Justin and King Combs, were handcuffed. Justin's biological dad, I'll be sure, just did an Instagram post that said, hey, son, come on home.
Quincy, yeah.
You know, there's an open door here for you. And it is a total mess. Are you surprised at all?
No.
No?
No. Man, I'm different, man. I never look at celebrity. I don't know if that's a weird thing about me, but from day one, ever since I started, like, I think maybe when I fought one of my heroes in martial arts and realized he was a man, but I had him on my wall growing up, I think from that moment on, I just started seeing people for who they are. And I stopped deifying folks. And I never look at people, I don't care if they're a singer, actor, whatever. I just go, that's what you do. It doesn't matter how much money you have. Who are you? Right? I don't give a shit because I ain't gonna spend your money. That's your money. Right? So why do I care? But I'm weird because other people seem to care about how much money somebody has. I don't give a I can't pretend to give a and I've never have. So I will see things differently. To me, it's all like, we're all in high school. Yeah, somebody gets money and they, kind of change their persona. They become, egotistical and call themselves what they want. Because, in acting and all this kind of stuff with all this money, you become whoever you want to be, your alter ego. You change your name and this and that. I still look at, hey, that's a nerd from college. That's a dude that throws parties. I don't see that stuff. I've been around Sean Combs. I've seen him, and I'm always concerned about people. From early on, my ex-girlfriend and Kim Porter, they were good friends. And so I used to be around them, and I saw a different thing. I know he's Puffy or Sean or what. I erase all that stuff, right? So I see a cat that I'd be concerned with that if somebody isn't checking him or if it's left to his own devices and ego, that you're going to see somebody that's not going to be able to be contained because, there are people who missed essential character building ass whippings growing up, right? He's a college dude. We knew him from Howard. He threw parties. He was talented at that. You could be talented as hell, but that's what you do. Like, I play make-believe sometime or whatever. That's what I can do. I ain't no better than somebody the hell else, and neither is he. But the world can go like, and then, I'm so-and-so. Oh, okay, Mr. I'm Hoobala. Hey, Mr. Hoobala. Up is down, down is up. Yes, sir. You. I don't, that shit never, I look, concern was like, man, that dude he's got just nothing but, yes people around him. He's going to be in trouble. Like nobody. So you need to rein that in. So that's what I'm always saying. I go, and I see that with a lot of people who, when they get powerful, like I said on this show before, if you didn't check yourself or balance yourself out before you get money and power, oh, good luck. It's going to be hard to rein that in later when you got all these people kissing your ass. So no, I'm not surprised. If somebody's got a proclivity for, being bisexual, there ain't nothing wrong with that as long as it ain't, against somebody's will or minor or whatever. I don't know if those things are true. But in that case where everybody say, yeah, he be getting one, I don't give a. So if it's a consenting male and whatever, or if you going to sell your values for that, that's on you. But but the whole thing, I draw the line if there's innocent people involved, then you get what you deserve. I ain't saying that happened. I don't know.
Well, this actually hits kind of close to home with you because you were in one of the Batman movies, The Dark Knight.
Right? Trying to make the connection right now.
Well, give me a moment.
I know
here.
it's going to come.
Well, because here's the thing. They say in Hollywood, all publicity is good publicity. And just recently, Sean Diddy Combs was cast for the new Batman movie as the Diddler.
Okay, you got it. Okay, all right. That's a connection. We got jokes now. Okay. All right. You got
Oh, man, the Diddler was trending for like the whole week. For the whole week, the Diddler was trending. And I remember I just did Piers Morgan, and I mentioned it in my interview, and that became the headline. I think I was the first person on TV to actually say the Diddler. Yeah, man, the jokes are nonstop right now. And
we're sad.
You know what else they're saying?
Why do we take such delight in somebody's downfall?
Well, come on, you gotta laugh. You gotta laugh.
Yeah, I did laugh, but that's kind of yeah, okay. That's. I gotta say it's funny.
Well, you know what else people are saying? Because I think Cameron was the one who kind of coined this phrase back in the day. He said "no homo." If you said something kind of that could be taken as gay, they'll say,
just like when you said you did Piers Morgan,
right?
Like that.
Exactly. I did Piers Morgan, no homo. Right.
Right. Yeah.
Well, now people are saying no Diddy.
Okay, they're saying
no
that now.
Diddy's the new no homo.
Oh man, people take delight. They take delight, don't they?
Listen, I don't know. I've done multiple interviews about this now. I was on Newsmax and I was on Piers Morgan. When they asked me about it, I said, listen.
You was on Piers Morgan? No, we'll stop that. Go ahead. You were on his show. Okay.
I was on his show. Yeah. Okay, there we go. No Diddy.
No Diddy. Okay. Yeah.
But yeah, it's like he hasn't been charged with anything.
Right.
His houses have been raided, and you're hearing about the potential charges and everything else like that. But technically, right now, March 28th, 2024, he has no charges. He's free to move around wherever he wants. He has his passport. If I was Diddy, I would do the Russell Simmons route and go somewhere outside the country where there's no, extradition policy, just to be safe and wait it out a couple
just
years.
To look real guilty.
Doesn't matter if he'll be real free.
Yeah.
R. Kelly ain't real free right now.
No,
Harvey
he's not.
Weinstein's not real free right now.
No, they're not.
You know who's real free? Russell Simmons.
Yes.
He's got some lawsuits and stuff like that, but he's chilling overseas somewhere. He just built a hotel. I talked to him the other day. He's chilling. He's chilling. And especially, you got to realize, right? We're not talking about 20-year-olds here.
Right.
These are people in their 50s.
True.
He's 57.
Who is?
Diddy.
Is he? Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Oh, let me look it up.
I don't care.
On. Diddy age. I'm sorry, he's 54. My bad.
Okay.
He's 54 years old.
Yeah, okay.
The kind of charges that he's potentially facing will essentially be a life sentence for him.
Wow.
I mean, you're doing 20 years at 54.
I'm not
get out at 74.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, these are federal charges, meaning you got to do 85%. But if you throw to there, you might have to do the entire time. I would not mess around. If I have my passport right now, I would be buying land in Venezuela or Iran or Russia or Bali or somewhere where I know that if things go completely bad, I could live out the rest of my days in luxury.
Yeah.
That's what I would do. That's what I would do. Even if I felt I was innocent, just to be safe. That's what I would do.
Yeah, I can't be mad at that because, I mean, just the accusations alone, I think, in this day and age, kind of it puts you into a box anyway, So I don't know. I mean, I don't know what the truth is about this whole situation.
Well, I went through the lawsuit by this producer named Lil Rod, and there are some insane accusations in there. Insane. 50 Cent's baby mother, Daphne Joy, was named as a 50 came in and chimed on it. He was like, I didn't know you were a you little You. And I actually heard this morning that he has now filed for full custody of his son.
That who has?
50.
Okay, because of
they have a son together.
Okay.
Sire.
You know, it occurs to me is that like people used to watch the stories back in the day, you know, All My Children and all that. But now it's reality. Now to me, the soap opera is like real life soap operas, and people are tuning in big time.
Yeah, man, it's a total mess. Like, let's see who else. Young Miami, his off and on girlfriend, was mentioned that she transported for him. Cuba Gooding Jr. was thrown in this, saying that he sexually assaulted this guy.
That what? Who?
Cuba Gooding Jr., I guess, tried to grope this guy, Lil Rod. And Diddy was there
Lil Rod
to overlook it. Lil Rod was a producer who I guess did some songs on Diddy's last album. And I guess they lived together for a while they were working on the album.
So who named him Lil Rod?
I don't know. I mean, according to Cassie, Diddy's into big rods. So
I'm trying not to laugh, y'all. He's just dancing on graves. Just dancing on
Stevie J was named in the lawsuit. It is.
I know.
It is crazy.
I don't know anybody.
Stevie J is a producer. He was also on Love and Hip Hop.
I care a lot.
Here's the interesting part, though. People aren't really talking about this because Cassie filed a lawsuit. We talked about this last time. And in the lawsuit, she claimed, you know, him hiring to sleep with her while he watched and everything else like that. That lawsuit was settled within 24 hours.
Yeah, I heard about that.
Right? And I'm absolutely positive about this. She signed an NDA when she got her money, meaning that she can't talk about it, she can't write a book, she can't do a documentary. But here's the interesting thing about criminal charges. They supersede private agreements.
Gotcha.
So although she can't publicly come out and do interviews and talk about what happened and write a book, if she gets subpoenaed in this federal case, she will have to get on the stand and reiterate everything that she said. So she would have gotten paid and potentially put him in prison.
Yeah, that's interesting. So the non-disclosure agreements, you know, they just paper if it comes to the low.
Yeah, I mean, that's the ultimate finesse right there.
Yeah.
She's going to get paid and put him in jail.
That would be something else.
We talked about this last time. You said that you don't think that it was a money grab.
That what was a money grab?
The Cassie's lawsuit was a money grab.
I don't remember because I really don't know who that is.
Cassie was his girlfriend.
It was his girlfriend.
Yeah. But you said, I remember we talked about it last time we talked about this. I said this looks like a money grab, and you're like, well, not necessarily. This seems like there was actual abuse and everything else like that.
Okay, I don't remember.
Okay.
Yeah. I do not recall.
I do not recall.
Yeah, I probably like studied for the test before I came and sat down.
Okay, fair enough.
But I don't remember now.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Well, there's another thing that actually happened is one of Diddy's accusers, the judge just ruled that they can't remain anonymous.
Okay.
To me, this is a sort of an interesting situation because, well, here's the one thing I really don't like about this. When you publicly sue somebody, their name goes into the media and all the bad press and everything else like that sometimes follows them forever.
Right.
But you get to remain anonymous in certain cases.
Which the accuser?
Accuser.
Right, yeah.
The person who's suing.
Yep.
Now, the rationale behind it is that if the person became public, this person has so much power and they could somehow, you know, retaliate or make the person's life horrible or send all their fans against them and so forth. But that to me just seems unfair because if that person loses the lawsuit, nothing ever happens to them. They get to go back to their normal lives and, you know, they had a lawyer on contingency, so no money, you know, came out of their pocket and so forth. But that person still has to hold that forever. To me, I feel if you want to sue someone anonymously, the person you're suing, they should hide that lawsuit as well. That should be a private affair. If you want to go public, everyone should be public. If you want to go private, everyone should be private.
Sounds kosher.
But that's not the law. So a lot of times, look, I mean, I read through this whole lawsuit with this Lil Rod guy. I mean, he really was there and there's photos. I mean, listen, the story gets actually really crazy. One part of the lawsuit talks about how Diddy and his son Justin were at the studio and they went to the back room, to the bathroom, and they shot this guy. And then, like...
Who mean shot this guy?
Yeah, so this guy got multiple times, like in the leg, and they convinced everyone not to say anything, and they took him outside and said that he was in a drive-by, but really he was shot by either Diddy or his son, and then there's pictures of all the blood in the bathroom and everything else like that, which proves that he wasn't outside. They even included an article saying the guy was outside. So there's like shootings and all types of other insane stuff in this lawsuit. So I don't know how much of this stuff is true. A lot of it sounds non-believable.
This is a great Netflix series.
Oh yeah, Surviving Diddy.
Yeah, I missed that episode.
Did he do it?
I didn't know. Yeah, I didn't.
Did he or didn't he?
I am just like on the fringes. I never even heard all that type stuff. Yeah.
I mean, with you hanging around Puffy, what did you think overall? His personality. I interviewed him one time. Me and him have had brief conversation in clubs, but like I don't know him.
What would I say publicly? Yeah, I mean, again, I don't see celebrity. I just see the person. I thought there was a lot of, I don't know. He, of course, in this context, him and Kim and what they were going through, this was at a time where he was really back and forth, really wanting, I guess, I feel, to get back with her. But it was just chaos surrounding this dude.
With Kim Porter.
Yeah. And we'd all be, me, Kim, and my ex at the time, I don't want to mention her name, get her drugged and dragged into here. Like, Kim would be on the phone with him a lot, and and it was kind of like, man, like he's very vulnerable at that time. But he's doing this, he's doing that, but then he still wants. It's kind of like, I want to be able to do everything I want to do, but still have you.
Bro, they had twins together.
Yeah,
the twin girls.
Yeah. So.
Well, wait. Do they have 3 kids together?
I don't know.
Let me see.
I don't know. We never hung with the kids. I didn't really know what was happening there. But the guy I met, right?
Well, they have 4 kids together. Oh, wait. Well, sort of. So Quincy, Diddy essentially raised him, but he's Al B. Shure's kid.
Right.
So they have twin daughters, Delia and Jesse. I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing the first one's name. And then Christian Combs. So they have 3 biological kids together.
Yeah, see, it's like this. Again, I'm going to say it again. I don't look at celebrity. So I look at people like, okay, as P. Diddy is what Sean Combs is playing for work. That's the way I look at it. People want to hate on me with the whole Tupac thing. I don't give a. I knew the guy I knew, and a lot of people substantiate what I said. The people who really knew him. No, never mind who you wanted to make him out to be or who he was playing. I never see the other thing. I think like, oh, that's something you play, right? And I don't hold that. That's your gig, is over here. But the person that I knew, just like with Bobby Brown, people didn't want to believe. Like, I knew a cat that was like trying to be a dad. That was like vulnerable as shit. And like, I always talk about how great of a father I felt Bobby was. People don't want to believe that.
I believe it.
But Bobby is one of the nicest people on the fucking planet. He is such a beautiful, loving person, but everybody want to paint him to be something else. He's just, his heart is this big. At the time, Puffy, the one that I knew, he was in a vulnerable place. And then, of course, that don't look like the guy when I turn the channel who's like really, acting like a rapper. I'm going, that ain't the same dude. Like, but I just feel like it's Revenge of the Nerds, man. This whole industry is Revenge of the Nerds, dude. Like, These people, the majority of us are nerds.
Yeah.
Who got a chance to be famous and they're playing their alter ego. It's actually hilarious to me. It goes across the board. Do people think, okay, erase the money. Look at Diddy, how you normally see him if you never see him before. Does he come off as somebody, I mean, do you not see that there's probably a performance going on?
And I've never really understood why, for example, at the height of the whole so-called East Coast, West Coast beef, or when he really started to really bubble and get a lot of power and sell a lot of records, he had all these like street guys with him. Guys like Wolf, who died, who was like, you know, a notorious street guy. Like everyone who knew Wolf, who I personally know, were like, okay, Wolf was extremely serious in the street.
Yeah.
Why surround yourself with someone like this? You could hire ex-CIA, Navy SEALs, whatever
I can tell
else.
you right now, and it's something I touched on before, I'm from that same world, bro. I've been on my own since I was 14. I'm college educated. But the height of the places that I'd rather be was with folks from the street because nothing was more exciting. Nobody's, the streets are alive. It's intoxicating.
Yeah.
Like life is like you're drinking from the river, basically. You know what I mean? So that's addictive. And you get used to being around it. It seeps into you. Because I navigated these worlds like crazy, right? I go back to, remember the conversation I had with you? One of the things that changed my life, the thing that happened over on Pico with me, where I realized I got to change things when I had the gun in the car, and I had the altercation with the guy. That was one of these moments where I'm going, I got to leave this behind, right? As exciting as and everything as it is, and keeping those people connected to me, bruh, it is nothing like, I mean, there was a painting I made when I was a kid. It was called a kiss I called it a kiss in the tenement hallway. When you have relationships where you ain't got but each other, those relationships are deep. Nobody's going to experience that if you didn't grow up with that. Those connections are deeper than anything. So when you're with people who live in the moment like that, it's intoxicating. It gets you hyped. I can see how Diddy, Tupac, when you're around that, how that can swirl you up. Because it's like being being high is in a way. And of course I've never been high, but I do recognize that feeling. So yeah, you want people around you. And when you talk about, you can hire ex-CIA. How fun is that?
How much safer is that?
You're gonna win that argument.
But
that's not what I'm arguing. I'm trying to explain to you why not the CIA. Why somebody who's been battle tested and from the hood, because I tell you, you want to tell me CIA is more battle tested in the hood, and that CIA can recognize, that's trouble coming around the corner. No, I beg to differ. My brother is a Secret Service. I know people from CIA. I do tactical training all the time. You think they got street skills? No. But it's not only they don't have street skills, bro.
But I bet you they're more accurate shooters, and I bet you they're not going to.
You ain't more accurate when you don't. You're not in your element.
For example,
yeah.
Let's talk about the repercussions of having a Wolf around, right?
Mm-hmm.
Wolf, who's dead now, and I could talk about this,
right,
was allegedly the person who shot Suge Knight's best friend, Suge Knight's right-hand man, which set off a terrible chain of events, which ended in the death of Tupac, ended in the death of Biggie, the biggest artist Puffy ever had,
right, yeah,
died in his 20s. set off all types of bad situations, which cost everyone millions of dollars, and all this money got lost and everything else like that. If he had a regular guy around him, a Navy SEAL, a Secret Service guy, or whatever else, he wouldn't have killed anybody in a club. Doesn't matter how bad the situation got. He would have de-escalated it, walked away, and none of that would have happened. But instead, you got the notorious street guy in your corner out there who died in a shootout with BMF.
Yeah,
He died in a shootout with Big Meech in front of a strip club over a stripper that was hanging out with BMF. This is who you surround yourself with. And these are the problems. And then Puffy had to become cool with Big Meech and threw him a party once he got off house arrest. This is the guy who was somehow involved in the killing of his right-hand man. Do you see how messy and ugly this gets just so you can have that intoxicating feeling?
Yeah, but let's back up. I'm telling you why. I'm not saying it's the best reason.
It's the worst reason.
Yeah, well,
it is the worst reason. The worst reason.
It can be, but all these circumstances are this. Unless I tell you all the other circumstances where it worked, it don't matter, does it?
Would it have worked with an actual professional security guy?
Maybe not. There's a
Listen.
because hey, I'm just saying like this. I'm telling you why I think it's comfortable to be with your people, so to speak. Because I get the lure. That's what I'm trying to describe. That's kind of a thing. Like I said, it's very intoxicating. You'd be surprised, man. I can get into a conversation with some, like when I go back home, I feel like I get into conversations with cats that bring that feeling back to me. And we recognize each other. Even people I didn't grow up with. When you have that, when you belong in that, you can go there that fast. All I'm saying is that's familiarity. And when you have somebody from the CIA or whomever, there might be some that you don't want to do around them.
Yeah, illegal. Grow up.
Right, of course.
Grow up. Go in the back room and do it on your own. Leave him in the front room.
Well, yeah, but
he doesn't have to be there while you're sniffing. Okay.
Yeah,
yes. You don't want to be sniffing around the LAPD guy.
But it's easy to point the finger afterwards.
Well, listen.
I'm just saying. Let's understand.
Well,
understand the situation.
Here's the other part of this that people don't want to talk about. When you bring these street guys around, they got their own little set of beefs with various people you're going to run into.
Of course.
Yeah, he's your security, but he's this gang, and he runs into a gang that he has a problem with, and now it turns into like, yo, I'm from the same place this guy comes from. He's not tougher than me. He don't have more bodies than me. He ain't, he don't put in work like me. I feel like in general, when you bring in professional, real security, most people just leave that guy alone. They look at the guy and say, this guy looks like he's about his business, and I don't want to fuck with him.
Yeah. I'm not advocating to do that. I'm just explaining, like, I get it.
Right. For example, right? I mean, I use different security, right? And in New York, I got one guy who's active New York Police Department.
Mm-hmm.
I remember we were driving around one day and he was telling me how the New York Police Department is the largest police force in the world. In the world.
Is that right?
Yeah. It's the largest police force in the world. Now there's paramilitary stuff, which I'm sure is
okay.
But actual one police force
right?
in one city, that's the biggest force in terms of sheer numbers in the world.
Okay.
You go show me one gangster that's going to go up against NYPD. They got surface-to-air missiles. They have tanks. They have every type of artillery you could possibly think of. You pull out that badge, and whatever problem is going on is over right then and there. The most hardcore gangster is not going to shoot a cop. Not going to beat up a cop.
Your point is, okay, that he made a mistake.
Think about how much safer it is. Think about how much safer you put yourself when you get real, actual security instead of like your tough guy friend that's willing to beat people up for you.
Right. But that's not going to happen. Not when you're from the street. Not when I mean, that's just. Of course, there's.
But is Puffy really from the street like that, or is he just intoxicated with the street culture? Puffy never sold drugs. He was never in a gang. He never did drive-bys or sold drugs or any. He never did home robberies. He never robbed people at gunpoint.
Is that all the streets is from you?
I mean, that's part of it, isn't it?
No,
that's not part of it at all. There's no part of that at all. I'm just making all this up.
Listen, I've done none of that. I'm born in Brooklyn, raised in Bridgeport.
Okay.
I'm just as much from the streets.
You've gotten
as a lot of
into
people.
a dozen shootouts.
Yes.
Okay.
I've experienced a lot of that, but I don't do that. I don't, I'm not involved with any of that type of shit. Of course, but I'm saying I'm affiliated, and
Puffy hasn't done any of the stuff you've done.
I don't know.
I don't think so.
I doubt it.
I doubt it.
I doubt it.
His dad was a gangster. I know that.
Right, but
he was sheltered away from it.
He's of the culture.
He grew up in Mount Vernon.
Yeah, okay, yeah. All right, so
a suburb.
Yeah. If you're saying that there's mistakes that have been made, we all concur. We agree.
Yes.
Right? And now when you put yourself in the situation, of course you're not anything like that. You're gonna hire professional people. You ain't got nothing to hide. You ain't getting you're not around people that's you don't even bring somebody who's gonna arrest everybody that you're dealing with.
Right. I've had early on in my career, I had street guys around me, and I saw problems that occurred because of them. We ran into some guys who had been talking about me online, and this guy almost beat him up.
Yeah.
Right in front of me in a crowded club, and it was something that I was halfway pushing for myself, thinking I had all this muscle around me.
I want you to admit one thing.
Okay.
There's a word fun.
Fun.
That's part of the equation. That's a huge part of the equation. And that's how you get caught up in that. Yeah. Because I'm telling you, even though I don't agree, I mean, dude, I'm you know my lifestyle or whatever, I can't deny, bro, this shit is fun.
Okay.
That there's a certain way of being around cats who all right, I feel like there's a allure to certain lifestyles. And one thing the streets do have is that they live life in the moment like nobody else. And that gets addictive, right? Because everything's just more vibrant. And there's something about that lifestyle when tomorrow's not promised to you, that they basically live like tomorrow may not happen. There's a beauty to that, right? Of course, it's at the demise of future, thinking about the future, because people who are living in the moment are not thinking about the future. So for me, it's a combination of living for your future but also living in the moment. That for me is the greatest balance. But you usually have one and not the other. There's very few people, but now Diddy, Puffy, whatever he wants, Brother Love, whatever he wants to call himself, is one of the unusual individuals who is navigating that world, very much like me, college educated and street educated. Now, the nerd in us enjoys being able to pop into this other side and live in that. You know, there's people on the east side of Connecticut, in Bridgeport, whatever, who still call me Bam, my street nickname, and think I'm still that way. That's part of me, but that's not the whole thing. It is like, I gotta tell you, it's just like this weird Jekyll and Hyde, that you can step into and step out of. But if you are this nerd who didn't get women till you got famous or powerful, well, that persona, that alter ego that you built for yourself, that's having you. I mean, now you're living out the fantasies of the nerd part of you, and you stay in that goddamn character.
It's cosplay.
Yeah, bro. It's deep, but there's a lot of people. Whoo, boy, there's a lot of people like that. Especially, you are who you are. At the basic level, and you get famous, you're free to exploit whatever your pathology is, and you don't even notice, but everybody else does, you know? Like, my pathology, like if I was a billionaire, I'd probably drive, you know, like you see, you know, I got like security stuff around my house, whatever. I'd probably have a moat. I'd have a
With
moat,
alligators.
security, and all that stuff, because I'm crazy about securing my family, right? And so I think, hey, it's okay to have a bulletproof, like, car driving around with a turrets on it, and I'll be like, that's perfectly normal. That's perfectly normal. And everybody else would be like, what the
You can't put guns in your car in America. Maybe if you're in South America somewhere.
Yeah, but whatever my issues, my little, you know, idiosyncrasies are, is going to be huge. I'm not even going to notice.
Yeah.
I'm not even going to notice, but everybody else is going to be like, what the wrong with this dude? Why do I have to like show my, you know, a badge to get in this guy's house? It's that's what it is, man. Like, but on the flip, if you're a balanced cat and you get rich, you know, like, you just look at a lot of powerful people. Look at Denzel Washington. You know, if he wanted to dress in Gucci every day, he could, but he's chill. You see what he does. He's basically a minister. You know, he is like the preacher's son. And
yeah, but have you seen his house? His house is palatial.
Of course it would be.
His house is insane.
But I'm not. One thing that
I just don't want you to. I just don't want you to paint a picture that he's this humble guy who lives in a 3-bedroom house.
No. I didn't say that.
Street. No, he doesn't wear Gucci, but his house is worth like $30 million.
No, but that's not my point. My point is he can wear Gucci if he wants to.
Yes, but he's not into dressing.
Yeah, but he's comfortable.
Yeah.
So, but that shows you something about him. That shows you something about his character. If he wanted to present himself a different way, he can. All I'm saying is every little thing you see, you know, exploited bigger. I'm saying if he wanted to wear Gucci, if that was his issue, he'd have it on all the time. It's clearly not.
Yeah.
If he wanted to do this or that and stay to himself, but no, he ministers to people. He goes out and puts messages to. I mean, he does a lot of things because he's now free to be completely himself. I'm just using that. I'm not trying to create an argument here. I'm just saying, just everybody, once they get powerful, shows you more of who they are. And so if there was an issue about, you know, dominating women or whatever, you're going to be free to, and they're not going to even notice that they're strange to everybody else. As long as people stop looking through the veil of freaking money, because it's like the emperor's new clothes. It's really the emperor's new clothes, man. It's like, but you know, I mean, what a great, what is that, fable or whatever that is? Because if you really look at it, they really had it down how people admire fame and wealth. That now, you know, something like if you take the fame and wealth away, and you see how this guy's dressed, like that looks like garbage. Oh no, it costs like $80,000. Oh, that's fly. You know what I'm saying? It's like, come on, man. Use your eyes. I can't be the only one that sees through a lot of this shit. Well, you know, there's a lot of nerds out there with money.
Yeah.
And because they got money now, you know, they're on, you know, like not a lot of cats that wouldn't get no women if they didn't have that money,
right?
But they convince themselves it's about them, and if you divorce yourself from reality, you're gonna pay for it. These cats, it's like you have a Lamborghini that only goes downhill if you push it. You know what I mean? And that Lamborghini ain't going, it'll go ride that down, but that shit and that chick is not going to take you back up the hill. It ain't going to take you nowhere because she empty as that fake ass Lamborghini. But people, it's just obvious to me.
Well, speaking of money, Terrence Howard, a fellow actor, owes $1 million in back taxes. Do you know about the story?
No.
Well, so apparently a couple years ago, he owes, he owed close to $1 million. They actually had to file, charges against him for owing this money. And in the process of him going back and forth with, I believe, the Justice Department, he left these long voicemails where he rants, and now these things have been released because it's part of the lawsuit, where he said, 400 years of forced labor and never receiving any compensation for it. Now you have the gall to try to prosecute and charge taxes to the descendants of a broken people that you are responsible for causing the breakage. In truth, the entire United States should by default become the property of the descendants of slaves. But since you do not have the ability or courage to do it, let's try this in court. We're going to bring you down. He's basically saying that black people shouldn't pay taxes. I believe Wesley tried to use the same argument at one point. Unfortunately, it didn't work out for him. Listen, I'm not saying what Terrence is saying isn't technically true, because it is. I do believe in reparations. I do believe that there was 400 years of forced labor and everything else like that. But you're not going to get out of paying taxes in 2024 by using this argument.
Yeah, I think you have your work cut out for you. I wasn't aware. That's a friend. I wish him well. I haven't followed that. He's got the talent to pull himself out of that, and I hope that happens.
He's a great actor.
One of the best.
He's a great actor. I remember he talked about recently how he was only paid $12,000 to do Hustle and Flow, which is a very small salary for what ended up being a fairly well-known movie. But, he even said I was trying to pay his rent at that point. He was trying to pay his own rent with that money. It's a dicey conversation because, like, I remember Terry Crews, he did Club Shay Shay. He said, you can't complain tomorrow about the salary you agreed to take yesterday. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, nobody forces anyone to accept a certain type of wage for a movie.
Right. Yeah, but I don't think Terrence was complaining about that. I think he was just laying it out. I mentioned before that we've all had to do that.
Right.
We were talking about the Taraji situation.
Exactly.
Yeah. That's no. I don't think it came off to me as a complaint. It's just he said, I had to do Hustle and Flow for 12. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think he ever would have complained about it, but I think it's just putting light on it, how little you have to work for to get to where you are. I was calling it singing for your supper.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What was the least amount of money you took for a prominent role in a film? I'm not talking about being an extra, because we know the extras don't get paid.
Right, yeah.
I'm not talking about a 1-minute speaking line or whatever else. Like, if I have,
Shit, man.
If I get a role, if someone asks me to be in their movie, I'm not going to charge them. But I'm saying, someone, if you're on the cover, you're prominent, one of the main actors in the film, what was the least amount of money you took?
I'm telling you, man, you think I'm bullshitting. I don't care about that so much. I really don't.
But you are aware of how much you're getting at some point.
I would be aware, but it's not even in mind. My focus is doing the best job I can.
Okay.
Right? I let my managers or whomever fight that out. They tell me, and it's a number I go with. I'm going, oh yeah, cool, and then I move ahead.
But you don't sit there and negotiate. No, I want twice as much, or
no. A lot of times, like I mentioned before, I'm about to say something. I'm going to have to say Diddy or whatever. Paul. I was about to say I'm a back end man.
No Diddy.
So no, I don't want to say that. Have somebody use that as a meme. No, it's my points on the back end.
Okay.
You're more important to me.
That. Okay.
Yeah, because I'm investing in, y'all don't know how good my movies are going to do overseas. So yeah, pay me this much in the beginning, up front, And so sometimes in a movie they think, oh, well, this will just be here in the domestic. I'm like, hey, let me get this much for overseas. Oh, sure, yeah, this will never make overseas. And they're like, oh, Brazil and everything else ordered it. So that's my strategy behind my stuff.
What was the most you ever got up front for a film?
Bruh, I'm telling you, I really don't think about it.
Was Batman one of the biggest paychecks?
Not even close.
What about Spawn?
No, definitely not close.
Really?
No.
So you were the main star of a big theatrical release.
No, it wasn't a lot.
Wasn't a lot.
Did
Tyler Perry give you some of your biggest checks?
Yes, he did.
Okay.
Yeah. That was some of the, at that time, was definitely one of the biggest ones. Tyler Perry's paid more than most.
And he's known for this. Taraji said the same thing. The first time she got like $500,000 was from Tyler Perry.
Yep, absolutely. And that's the way Tyler pays people is the way I'd like to pay people. Because he has very, very much say it again. Back in participation. Stop. Fucking stop. Okay? I know, just stop. Tyler Perry provides. Is there another way to say this? You get money later on. If the movie, like say if the movie does 50 million, you get a certain amount. It goes to 75, you get another amount. It goes to 100, you get another. You keep getting checks.
Yeah.
Because so that's back end participation.
Right.
And the real.
But sometimes that back end is a little funny. Because, for example, I was a character in one of the Boondocks episodes.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't have a major part in the episode, but I had a whole section where Thugnificent came on VladTV, and I had multiple speaking parts and everything else like that. It was, I don't know, a couple minutes in the episode. I get royalty checks. I remember it got picked up by, I think, Hulu at one point.
You ain't getting shit from them.
I remember I would get a check every so often for like $3.
It's not the same.
$5.
Streaming.
I don't think I've gotten $100 check since. How much did I get? I think I got maybe $700 to do it. Since then, I don't think I've gotten another $700. If you add it all together, it might be maybe $100.
It's apples and grapefruits, man. That's streaming. That's TV.
Okay,
we're talking movies.
All right.
So it's a whole different thing.
All right, I'm just saying.
So yeah,
I got so little. It was, in fact, I remember when I interviewed Carl Jones. I gave him my check, my last royalty check on camera. Yeah. He kept it, but it was only like $3. So I was like, who cares?
Yeah, but had this been 20 years ago, it would have been a lot more.
Okay.
Yeah, which was what the strike was about.
Aha.
Yeah, it's major different than when it was on networks and now streaming. It's different.
Well, one of my members, he actually brought this question up. He asked you to name the top 5 movies that you've been in.
He should name the top 5 movies I've been in. I don't even, I honestly I'm always looking through the windshield and not the rearview mirror. I don't think about that stuff. I honestly don't. I got to go into another brain cavity to think about the top 5 movies I've been in.
All right, because I looked it up.
I'm thinking about the next 5 movies.
121 movies.
Get the fuck out of here. Seriously?
That's what it says. Well, you have 121 credits. This may include television. It's on IMDb, but it's 121.
Okay.
Yeah, it includes TV, but it's still 121. You can't name just top 5 where you were like, yo, I killed that performance. Like, yo, I'm really happy with what I did. Like, I can think of my top interviews that I've done. You can't think of the top 5 films where you're like, yo.
I have to sit there and think about it. Okay, I would.
Would Batman be one of them?
What context? My favorites or what? I know you love money, so you're probably thinking about the highest grossing ones.
Not necessarily, but you can't say The Dark Knight wasn't one of the most impactful movies that you've ever done.
No, you're saying impactful.
Yeah.
So it depends on what category you're talking.
Okay, how about this? Let's take away impactful, money, or whatever else. The top 5 movies where you said, in terms of my craft as an actor, I feel like I really outdid myself in these films. Like, I'm really proud of my performance. I think I can get to 5.
Yeah. Mike Tyson. Because if I didn't do that correctly, I wouldn't be here.
There you go. That's one.
Because that was somebody everybody knew and they could compare me to him.
There you go. That's one.
Okay. Black Dynamite. I wrote it, I wrote it, I created it and performed it.
Yeah.
And people are calling it one of the funniest movies or whatever.
Yeah, I love that.
And I'm
film.
not known for comedy, right?
Yes.
But Outlaw, I think, is, in a way, my best movie from writing and everything. And I think in time, people start to really discover all of the things I'm saying in that movie.
That's 3.
Yeah, so I think the next one is going to be one of the best. Trouble Man is going to be one of the best.
Okay, well, we're going to exclude that because it's not out yet.
Yeah.
I'm going to exclude that. I understand. I'm not saying it's not true.
Yeah.
But it's not out yet. So
it's not out yet.
Yeah.
Okay. I swear I had 2 more.
Blood and Bone?
Yeah, Blood and Bone. That seems to be everybody's. That's probably the biggest selling worldwide movie.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, one more. You wouldn't put one of the Tyler Perry movies in there?
It probably, grossing wise, is probably.
No, in terms of your performance, where you said, wow, I killed that role.
I'm not a big fan of me like that. Like, okay, if you're talking about me and performance.
Yes.
Me and performance. Okay, yeah, maybe Tyler Perry, because I made you forget that I was the guy who kicks people in the neck. And I was Marcus, and there's a lot of people that say, oh, he's Marcus. I'm like, okay.
Which film is that?
Why Did I Get Married? 1 or 2, or I don't know. But I'm playing the same character in both.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, so that kind of dismantled a little bit of the Blood and Bone and Spawn persona.
Right.
Yeah.
So the Toxic Avenger Part 3, The Last Temptation of Toxie. That's not one of them.
So this is what it was about. This was a setup for the Toxic Avenger joke. Okay. I'll kick you in the shin later. Yeah, okay. All right.
I'm joking, man. I mean, listen, but those are 5, what I would say, 5 cult classic films.
Thank you.
Yeah. They're not the Titanic, making 100 million films, but these are all films that I feel the hip hop community, which is where I function at, they've all seen these films. They all know the characters.
True.
They've all watched them. They've all admired how well they were put together. They all admired your acting ability, memorable stories, and so forth. Just like, for example, Friday. Friday wasn't the best-selling film, but a lot of people put that as their number 1, favorite comedy.
Right, and let me tell you, people don't realize this, but people don't have any idea how mid-level action movies make the most money. If you research that, you'll find that to be true. Even the Titanics, when you start looking at the money it cost and the money it took to advertise it, they wind up, when you say return on investment, they're close to each other. But the biggest movies historically are these action movies. These things that I do, they make, because they never are out of season. Like Road Warrior is the most, I think it's still the most profitable movie ever.
Mel Gibson's first?
Yes, because it costs so little, but it has made hundreds of millions.
Huh.
So it's like, because you can keep watching it. It will always be on television.
Right, and when they come up with a new one, people go back to watch the old one.
Yeah, because no matter what, I don't care if you're in Serbia or somewhere else and you're having a beer or whatever they drink in Serbia, you're watching things like this, right? And that's why one of my kicks that I always love is that I get these copies of movies, me dubbed in Russian and Chinese and Brazil, and Portuguese and all these different languages. I get a kick out of that, but that tells me that they're dubbing me in all these different parts of the world, right? They're not doing that in the usual black movies. And so people don't realize that is being sold, everywhere. So that's, part of the whole thing with these kind of movies. And so you'd be surprised that things like Blood and Bone has made upwards of, I don't know what the last total is. I'll get you that later, but it'll shock you. It'll shock you because that movie, think about it, Blood and Bone, okay, which I did 14 some years ago, was trending on Netflix a month ago in the top 10.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? That's the biggest streaming in the country.
Yeah.
With a movie that's 14 years old.
So Netflix had to approach you to license that film for a certain amount of time on Netflix, right?
I would love for that to have been happen, but no, I don't own the movie.
Oh, you don't?
No. I wish I owned the movie.
But I thought you put it together yourself.
Well, I produced it, yeah. I get a percentage.
Uh-huh.
I don't own the movie. Yeah.
But you own...
If I own the movie, I'd have the tank and the moat. Already.
You just have a Range Rover now.
Yeah. And a few
other things. And a nice house.
Yeah.
With a pond.
Yeah.
Not a
It's a pond. It's a pond. It's a koi pond. It's not
a koi pond.
I don't have no alligators. No alligators.
Right.
I do have an alligator in it. It's a fake alligator.
It's a fake alligator. Yeah, I've been to the house.
Yeah. Okay, yeah.
Okay, so you just got a percentage. So, but you did, something came in your mailbox when it came on Netflix.
It will.
It will, right?
Yeah.
Eventually, right.
Mm-hmm.
Well, congratulations on that.
Yeah. It went to I have to call my accountant to see if it went there.
Got it.
Yeah. So that.
Well, let's switch gears for a second. It was announced recently that Mike Tyson, age 57, is going to be fighting Jake Paul, age 27.
Right.
On July 20th on Netflix, which is, I think, a first for Netflix to actually have a live fight.
Yeah, right. I think so.
Who you got?
I got Mike Tyson.
Really?
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't. I'm sorry. I don't see how Jake pulls this off. I see Mike Tyson punching him in the body, and I don't see how Jake stops that. Jake is not of the size to give Mike a problem. Mike can be, big guys would hold Mike, guys with long reach and that outweigh him.
Yeah.
I think people that's Mike's weight, with Mike's center of gravity, I don't think there's anything that's going to stop him. Mike hits him in the body don't move that much. I don't see how Jake survives a body attack, personally.
Okay, I looked it up. Mike Tyson is 220 pounds.
That's 1 pound less than his optimal weight.
And Jake Paul is about 200 pounds. He's got about 20 pound
Are
difference.
you kidding me? He's only 200?
Yeah.
Oh, gee. It's worse than I thought.
That was his last fight. That's what he weighed in as.
Yeah. Oh, boy. That means, because he fought Tommy Fury he was 200 pounds when he fought Tommy Fury?
6'1". Mike is what, 5'10"? Let me see.
Huh. He's 6'1".
5'10", yeah. 5'10". So he got 3 inches on him.
I know.
3 inches for Mike Tyson's not a big deal, obviously. But Tyson is 57. And, okay.
I don't care.
when Tyson fought... Yeah. Okay, so when Tyson fought Roy Jones Jr., he clearly won. But he did seem kind of winded during that fight.
Roy Jones have skills that Jake will never have, even at that age. Jake's got a punch. But, see, Jake has fought really tiny guys in comparison to him. Nobody was, I mean, only Tommy Fury that I know of and then I happen to know, which is, I probably shouldn't say anything, because, I was instrumental in, sometimes getting guys to spar with Jake and his brother.
Right. I mean, he lost to Tommy Fury.
Yeah, but I know the guys that train with them.
Okay.
And how they do against them. So I'm a little like, it's kind of insider information there, but yeah, I don't see Jake doing much against Mike.
So you definitely give it to Mike Tyson.
Mm-hmm. I probably shouldn't freaking say anything, because who am I to say that? Because I don't want to mess with, these are people's business. So
it's a fight. People are going to make predictions and people are going to chime in. This is the nature of a public fight. It's not like they're privately getting together and we're the only ones who know about it.
Yeah, okay.
It's a public fight on the biggest streaming platform in the world, Netflix.
Yeah, it's true.
Clearly, they want people to talk about it, to hype it up. I'm sure they appreciate this conversation right now.
Jake, all power to him, man. What he's done, everybody's going to see that damn fight.
Yes.
Everybody's going to see that.
Oh, yeah.
So Jake is never going to lose.
Oh, yeah. No, I'm sure his payday, even with a loss, is insane.
A loss is not a loss in this situation.
No.
Yeah.
No, he even moved to Puerto Rico at one point, so he doesn't have to pay taxes.
Is that
That's
why?
how much money. Well, that's usually why people move to places like Puerto Rico. Like, why else would you live in Puerto Rico when you're a U.S. citizen?
Maybe you like Puerto Ricans.
Or maybe you don't want to pay taxes and you're making hundreds of millions of dollars. And you can pocket an extra 20, 30 million by staying in Puerto Rico for 6 months out the year.
Yeah, you know what?
Same reason why people move to Vegas, Florida, Texas. These are not always the ideal places to live, but you don't pay income tax.
Maybe this is a stupid thing to say, but I don't know the difference between 200 million and 50 million. Like, I really don't. What's different about your lifestyle?
We're also not playing with 200 million right now, who are we to say what's the difference?
True, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, I know people who are, in those brackets.
Listen, I would love to fly private instead of flying first class, but unfortunately, I never fly private because I can't afford it. That's just the reality of life.
You've flown private before.
One time I've flown private when I was, and it wasn't even like a flight that I booked. We were staying in this island called Lanai, and it was an island that's essentially owned by Larry Ellison, and they have 2 Four Seasons on the island, and that's it. And we had to fly into Honolulu and then take a private jet to that island, which was like maybe a 20-minute flight. And it was just us, and it was really it was crazy how turbulent it was because it's such a small plane. Like, everyone brags about flying private, but it's not always the best experience because the planes are tiny.
No, that's not my experience.
Well, when I flew...
Okay, you might be talking about private, just twin engine or something.
Exactly,
like
yes.
Oh, okay.
I'm not talking about private,
that's
like Air Drake. No, I've never flown... I've never flown in a truly...
Like a G6. That's different.
No. I've never flown like that.
Oh,
I just simply have never flown.
Well, that to me is private. That's like, you don't feel nothing. That's like a spaceship. Like,
I've never flown it.
Yeah.
Well, because listen, at the end of the day, like, I fly to New York all the time, right? I'm about to go out there in a couple of days. Do I spend $1,500 on a flight, or do I spend $40,000 on a flight?
Well,
I'm going to spend the $1,500. I'm not going to spend $40,000 to go coast to coast.
Well, yeah, a lot of folks like Tyler, like he has, like when you have a private jet, it's not just yours. You usually share it.
If you want to.
It's a timeshare thing. Because, who's going to need a private jet 24/7?
Right.
Right? Usually that's the way I've known people to have their situations. I've flown several times private, and I've known a lot of very rich people. And in my estimation, the richest people, there's a balance that, or an imbalance, so to speak. I know people with humongous houses that have to live with a bunch of caretakers.
Yeah.
That, like, I would never want to do that. Big ass house. Now you got to have 24/7 gardeners and maids and what, and so you got to now, part of your job is directing people and having people in your space all the time. That may be cool for a lot of people. Not me. I don't want that lifestyle. I don't want a house that's so big that I got to hire people to be in my damn house all the time. I'd hate that. You know, and then, so there's a whole thing, there's a certain personality thing. So for me, I wouldn't change my lifestyle very much because I love my damn lifestyle. I don't want to have a bunch of servants around me.
Well, with Jake Paul, I feel that the main thing that he needs to get over is, I feel that with most people, there's an inherent fear of Mike Tyson because of his reputation.
Mm-hmm.
He knocks people out in 30 seconds. He'll bite your ear off. He'll eat your kids. Like, all the crazy stuff that's been said and done over the years. And I remember when I talked to Holyfield, he kind of said the same thing. He said that Tyson usually beats people that are come in the ring scared. But he said, I wasn't scared. And I had to show him early on that I'm not scared of you.
Right.
That, he said, threw Tyson off, and that's why he was able to win both times.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, technically he won once, and he was, Tyson was disqualified the second time, but he was winning that second match. Do you think that Jake Paul is going to be scared of Tyson coming in the ring?
He should be. And Tyson's going to be scared too. Tyson's always scared. He said it himself. That's one of his things. That's why he puts on that armor, So, that's, so he should fear Tyson's fear. But I mean, the way I look at fighting, I have a certain perspective that I enjoy it. I enjoy every aspect of it. That's why I love sparring people. I like testing myself. Because, it's one of those things that maybe it's crazy, but you never feel more, for me, I never feel more alive than those situations. I really, I get hit, the first thing that happens is I smile. Because it's just like, I don't know, there's a certain fun to it, to me. But I would say if Jake has fun would be the best way of looking at that. The fear thing sometimes, I don't know, I mean, there's a little, I can understand the fear a little bit beforehand, anticipating. Sometimes that's a little nerve-wracking, but embrace the fun of it, man. You get to fight Mike Tyson. You're gonna one of the few people who get to do that.
Yeah.
That's like I say, I'm envious of that. To be able to do, man, are you kidding me? That's a dream.
Well, according to Logan, he actually got offered the fight first, and he turned it down because he said that Tyson was too old and senile.
Okay, that's a convenient way to say that.
Well, because remember, Logan fought Mayweather, and you predicted that he would lose, and he lost.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, people even said that Mayweather kind of kept him up. Like had a chance to knock him out and sort of didn't during certain times.
Yeah, it's and I mean, people, if you're not a fighter, you may not appreciate this, but the size discrepancy is ridiculous between Logan and Mayweather. That's crazy. You never would see a professional fight with that kind of size discrepancy.
Right, but Mayweather still won.
Yeah, I know. That's Mayweather fighting somebody several classes above him.
Yeah.
Right? To his disadvantage.
Yes.
So if Logan were to fight Mike Tyson, who is heavier and, got more skills, yeah, I shouldn't use, well, I mean, I guess he's he's safe to say use the word senile and old from that distance.
Well, yeah. I mean, imagine if Mike Tyson had to fight Tyson Fury right now.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think would happen?
That would be very hard for Mike Tyson.
Yeah.
Because, again, this guy's, he can hug him.
He's taller, he's heavier, he's younger.
But, yeah, all he has to do is this. I mean, it's hard to get around your arms. Tyson Fury just have to do this. It'd be hard to get any punch around his arms or just do this. I mean, that would not make for a good fight.
Well, Logan Paul actually recently said that Jake Paul has 24-hour security ever since Mayweather threatened him.
Mayweather threatened? Who?
Yeah. Well, what had happened was, this was back in 2021. I guess there was a confrontation that happened, and Jake Paul grabbed Mayweather's hat.
Uh-huh.
And then I guess Mayweather's like, I'm going to kill you for that. And ever since then, he's kind of taken it seriously. He's literally had 24-hour security. Yeah.
Yeah. I can't imagine Mayweather actually meaning that.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Floyd Mayweather he's way brighter than people think. I mean, it's hard to believe that.
I mean, he allegedly punched up T.I. that one time.
So
remember that whole situation?
I don't think that has anything to do with it. But
I'm saying Mayweather will put hands on you if given a chance, if given a provocation.
Yeah, of course.
From what I understand, I guess T.I., because there was the whole thing about Tiny or supposedly whatever. And
things that happen in a moment, but strategically going to get somebody like Jake Paul hit or something. Yeah. No, he would
go to prison for the rest of your life. Yeah.
Oh, come on. No, Mayweather's way that he is not that guy. Yeah.
Well, you got the Devin Haney Ryan Garcia fight that's coming up. What do you think of that?
I think Devin Haney will pull that out. I feel Ryan has a lot. Ryan has a lot of work. I think he was like kind of a manufactured by. I mean, he's a good-looking guy. He's got a great-looking punch. He's got power. But yeah, I think Gervonta exposed a lot that he needs to work on.
Well, what do you think about Ryan's bizarre behavior?
I don't know anything about it.
Oh, yeah. I think he said he's been kidnapped at one point, and it was a bunch of really weird stuff.
If that's the truth, that's not good. That does not bode well in his favor, because here's a guy who needs to work on his fundamentals, seriously, if he's going to have a history in this. He's got a lot of work to do, and he doesn't need any distractions.
Do you think that a lot of this is hey, I'm going to put this image out that I'm crazy, that I'm just out of my mind, and that's going to scare my opponent?
No. It's not going to work.
It's not going to work.
It's not going to work.
I think Devin is just too solid of a fighter.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of people that Garcia is going to have a lot of problems with if he doesn't. The showing with Gervonta, it was really bad. It was really bad. Yeah. He's got to get around that fairly. He's got to really put some work in.
Okay, well, your friend Francis Ngannou and Anthony Joshua.
Yeah,
they had a fight.
Yes, sir.
And unlike the Tyson Fury fight, Ngannou didn't do so well.
Right.
He got knocked out. You watched the fight?
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
What happened?
Well, I mean, what Francis didn't do, which I was so surprised and so impressed with when he fought Tyson Fury, he didn't bite on the feints. Francis used to bite on the feints in UFC, which I thought, that's not going to be good with somebody like, with Fury. The fact that he stayed in, it didn't go for the fakes, showed such a incredible evolution. But now I think maybe because Anthony Joshua probably had much more threatening blows and jabs that caused Francis to constantly go to block. And that's one of the things that was very different. He wasn't doing that with Fury. And so simply, when you see that, as somebody like Anthony Joshua, is that I do this and he opens up, he just timed it. He just went, and just basically gave him that. Francis' hand went down and he went, straight right. And you get a straight right thrown with that much technique by a guy that powerful. Yeah, it's like you saw it coming. You go, oh boy, Francis normally doesn't, even if you're faint, you don't want to straighten your arm out like that. And that's what he did. He went to go parry it. You don't go parry it. You stay. If you're going to do it, you got to be here. So if you do this, any professional is going to go, okay, so that's what's happening. And myself and my boy Frankie was super middleweight champion. I trained all my boxing for years. We're like, oh shoot, like he is really, trying to reach for that hand, which is not good. So it's almost like you might as well. We were like, oh, we could turn this off now because that right is gonna, yeah. So yeah, I'm a nerd with it. So it's like, yeah, he didn't do that with Fury.
Okay, so you're basically blaming it on Francis's inexperience in the boxing ring.
The inexperience came back in that fight, yeah.
Does this sort of end the prospects of a Tyson Fury rematch?
No. No, of course not. Of course not.
Well, I mean, you lost to Tyson Fury, and Anthony Joshua is not at Tyson Fury's level, and you lost to him as well.
I don't know about that. Well, of course, he's not the champion, but
that's what I'm saying.
Styles make fights.
Okay.
I think Anthony Joshua could beat Tyson Fury.
Really? Okay.
Yes, I do.
Okay.
Especially if Tyson Fury fights like he fought Ngannou. Anthony Joshua is fast. I mean, to me, he's an athlete, right? It's like you got a guy that's bigger than Francis Ngannou fighting Fury. I think Fury doesn't take you out with one, doesn't take Anthony Joshua out with one. It takes a cumulative. But Anthony Joshua can take him out with one, same way that Ngannou can. So there's a reason why Fury needs to worry. I think Anthony Joshua's will stick to the program a bit better than Deontay Wilder would.
Did you watch the Roadhouse remake? I just watched it like a few days ago.
I didn't make it through.
You didn't make it through? Okay. Number one, the first one was a classic, starring Patrick Swayze, rest in peace.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Jake Gyllenhaal was in obscenely good shape.
Yes, he was.
I was amazed as to how he looks. No Diddy.
Yeah. Jake was ready to do a fitness contest, like one of the board shorts thing. Yeah, he was in great condition.
How did he pull that off? Because it's not like he was in bad shape.
No, he was never in bad shape.
He never looked like that before.
Well, he just lost every bit of body fat around.
Well, you also had to build a bunch of muscle though as well.
No, it doesn't work that way. It's like a block of clay. You chip into it. Okay. I bet you Jake Gyllenhaal was probably the lightest weight he'd ever been. It's just a loss of body fat. You always have the striations and muscle. It's just you have those striations. You just gotta see it.
Yeah, but I don't have.
You don't. But everybody thinks
have biceps. Like, for example,
you
Jake
might
had.
If you cut the fat out.
Okay,
See, that's the thing. People think that you get built up, If I'm my leanest on camera, it's because I'm the lightest I've been.
Okay.
So, but it looks like I've built my muscles out because you see them more. That's the kind of the illusion.
Well, Conor McGregor played the villain in that movie.
Yeah.
I'll be honest, I like Conor as a fighter, but he can't act his way out of a brown paper bag. That was some of the worst acting I've ever seen.
Dude,
do you agree with me on this as an actor?
I saw 40 minutes of the movie. I waited for Conor. I turned it off after. I say this movie is not for me. It's for the general public.
Okay.
Patrick Swayze made me turn it off. The ghost of Patrick Swayze.
He tapped on the shoulder and said,
"He was like, Mike, what are you man? I'm so sorry. I'm all right.
I did not die for this.
Yeah. Because I'm just sorry. For me, nothing worked. Not one thing worked in that movie to me. Of course, I'm kind of on the inside of that.
Yeah.
And I'm like, it could be. I'm like, is this going to turn into a musical? Because this is way over the top. The bad guys were like, I'm going to wreck this place. And then the fight scenes, I'm going, okay. Yeah. That was pretty damn bad.
It was so interesting. Like, it's so interesting to watch professional athletes try to act. And granted, some of them end up being good. Like my man John Sally's actually a good actor.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of them can't seem to even play themselves on camera. Like LeBron can't seem to play LeBron. When I watch LeBron in House Party or some other movies he's been in, you're like, oh, come on, man.
Well, think about this. Muhammad Ali played himself in The Greatest, and not well. One of the most charismatic people to ever walk the planet.
Right.
Was not quite able to play himself.
Right. It's a different skill set.
Yeah.
I think everyone thinks they could act. Like, I think in my head I could act, but I know that I probably can't.
Well, it depends as you think. You got to be, as an acting coach, before the trick to a director or an acting coach is to trick you into not acting and just being in the moment. So there's I feel like everyone can act. There's just you need to find what the road is to get to a believable place.
Right. And I mean, Conor McGregor was essentially playing himself and still could not pull it off. Hopefully I don't run into Conor one day and he remembers this interview.
Yeah,
but
well,
I will take the risk and say that he was absolutely awful in that movie. Awful. And yes, the fight scenes were kind of cool sometimes and so forth.
I don't know what they were doing.
But you can't get over the bad acting. And this was, somewhat of a major film. Like, Jake is a major actor. This was a big budget film. It was pushed.
Well anticipated. It was talked about for a long time.
Yes.
I looked forward to it. It just seems to be basics that they just skated right over.
Yeah.
Just like believability. Like, just come on. Casting, all that. I'm like, this is this newfangled way of movie making that I don't quite get.
I feel like most remakes are just extremely underwhelming for some reason. Like, you could go down the line. White Man Can't Jump, awful. House Party, awful. Let's see what else. The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air remake, awful. Roadhouse, awful. All of them are just Lion King remake, awful. Little Mermaid, not very well received.
I don't know why they did. It's like people are picking from the buffet of bad movies to create the new movies.
Well, those aren't,
right?
But no, I disagree because all those movies, the originals, I thought were great.
No. The buffet of bad movies. Like, so what I'm saying with Roadhouse, right?
Yeah.
Let me pick from a bad fight scene from said movie. said bad movie and put it in this movie. Let me pull a really bad scene from another bad movie and put it in here. It's not like they're like, it's kind of like from a bad movie, guy fights someone and goes to the crowd. That's in every bad movie, but not in reality. Like nobody does that, right? Or just really bad dialogue where you know this fight is going to happen and you got these overblown. It's just like, okay, then from a bad movie where the woman, the love interest has to give you hell at first, only to do this switch that you see coming from a mile away.
Right.
And it's just does not feel real at all. It's only from a buffet of bad movies. That's what I'm saying. It's like every bad cliche, let's throw that in this movie and make the new movie, is what I'm saying. That happens way too much. Jake was in good shape, and he showed us a lot. Okay. Well, you have to put a shirt on sometime.
Okay. He had a shirt off the entire movie. Right. From the opening credits to the end.
Exactly.
No shirt.
But I'm like, but I say, okay, maybe this isn't fun. It's like, I like to feel like I'm not watching a movie when I watch a movie. And every moment made me know I'm watching a movie.
Okay.
They didn't make that movie for me, and you didn't supposed to. I guess you're supposed to make it for people who haven't seen a bunch of badass movies. And, so that's, and, maybe the last half of the movie was wonderful and I missed out. But
No, it was pretty much the same. More over the top fight scenes, more bad acting from Conor McGregor. He kind of like survives at the end, so they're kind of prepping it for a part 2. I hope that never happens, but yeah.
I was hoping Conor McGregor would be Conor McGregor. That dude has said some of the funniest I've ever heard in my life in interviews.
Yeah.
And man.
Yeah, but you could tell he was just
so
acting.
quick.
He was just trying to act. It was him trying to act. He's not an actor, and at one point, the director just said, forget it. Let's just keep rolling the tape.
Man, some of the stuff, Conor McGregor has said off the cuff.
Yeah.
Like, with, that whole thing with him and Nate Diaz, all that. It's some of the best comedy I've ever heard. Like, he says Nate could only count to 5, and the hand puppet thing. And my favorite by him was, I don't know if you ever see the interview where this guy chimes in on this dais and he says, who the f*** is that guy? But he's so sharp in the moment. And, but yeah, he started out way up here.
Yeah.
In a caricature.
Yep. Well, we had done an interview with Nicholas Irving, who was an ex-Army sniper. I believe he has 30 kills. But one of the questions was based on all of his experience in the Army and all these altercations he had been in, what his best advice is for getting into a street fight. So what he said was, the first thing you should try to do is walk away.
Absolutely.
He says that you don't know the unpredictability of the other person's mental state or the potential that person has for violence. He said if self-defense becomes necessary, then you should carry something like pepper spray for your protection, a weapon like that. But he said if left unarmed, you have to go for the vulnerable parts of the body, such as the groin, the solar plexus, or the throat. He also said it should not be a fair fight. It should not be polite. It should be raw and ruthless. But it should never, ever, ever be fair because you don't know what's going to happen.
What's the best method of protecting yourself if you get caught up in an altercation in the street?
Best method, walk away if you can.
I love that. I love that.
Yeah, best method, because you just never know what that other person is capable of doing. You don't know their mindset. That may be their last straw, and they have nothing else to lose, or they feel that way. And yeah, best thing you can do is, try to ignore it, walk away. And if you are capable of defending yourself and you know how to do stuff, even more so, because what you are going to do to that person, you can go to jail for. If it's not, it depends on how the courts look at it. But if it comes down to it and you have to defend yourself, if you don't have a gun or a knife, just probably looking to carrying something, even if it's pepper spray. I'm not a big thing about pepper spray, but your best line of defense is to always walk away. If you can't, I would study just vital portions of the body that there's no matter the amount of muscle you have around it, if you hit this point, they'll feel it. And that's from the groin to the solar plexus to the throat, trachea, eye gouging. Fighting shouldn't be, if you're in defense for yourself, it should never be, 1, a fair fight, 2, polite. It should be gritty, dirty, and like I tell my son, if you have to, never mind. If you get into a fight, bring me back home an eyeball. It should be, but his first line of defense is always walk away, go seek help, tell a teacher. But if someone keeps messing with you, bring me back home an eyeball.
That's true. I agree with most of what he said.
Okay, which part do you disagree with?
When you're talking about the throat and things like that, only because I would hate for people to, in a realistic situation, to try to laser focus on something that is, see, what happens is, like, when you watch anybody do self-defense, you're watching two stationary people. Fights are never stationary. Never. When you talk about the groin, you're looking at somebody demonstrating a groin kick to a stationary person. Never fucking stationary. Go ahead, try to Google real fights, and then try to apply, kick them in the groin. The groin is moving. Everything is moving.
Yeah.
So that, as somebody who's, come from the streets, me fighting in the streets first and then learning martial arts, there's a lot of stuff I learned in martial arts that I go, that's absolute bullshit. Is a lot. But the first thing, your biggest weapon is right here. If you can make the switch that you say, okay, this is at stake and I must live, that somebody who's fighting you, they've already made that switch, they're deciding to attack you, you have to, in a second, make a mental switch, no motherfucker, I will kill you.
Yeah.
Right? And a lot of times when you make that mental switch, I don't care what you do, you could be like, I hope you have a good evening. And they know this motherfucker's ready to kill me, right? It doesn't matter. And the law, the street, people know they can sense things. Mm-hmm. If you have that victim, if you're this trying to figure out what's going on, hey man, whatever, you're several steps behind. So your biggest weapon is right here, making that mental switch. And so with that mental switch, you can enact any intention that you want. If you don't, you're in trouble. If it takes you too long to make that switch. So yeah, I wouldn't say, oh, look for the groin or all that type of shit, that kind of a thing. I think about hitting to the center of the face, striking directly, using your hands. If you palm like this into somebody's face, you can hit them in the nose, eyes, and everything. If you did that blindly, I'm going to hit something, right? And dash the out. That's your best situation to me.
So just open hand, grab, try to get the eyes, the nose.
This is a palm heel. Yeah. Now you can use your palm heel against that building and not hurt yourself. You hit that full blast. You could punch somebody and break your arm and that, or your wrist if you don't know how to punch. Huh. Right? But anybody can go like this. If your palm hits them, great. If your fingers hit him in the eyes, great. You got 5 fingers. So if you did this, right, and dashed out all your might to make as much, noise as possible, wham, 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 go, that may be a simple thing to think about. That's kind of one of the things I say to do. And if you learn how to leg kick, most people have no idea how to defend against that. And so, I mean, there's certain things that I would teach in self-defense situations, but the first thing would be make this switch. That's the first thing.
Yeah, I mean, when I think about my home invasion situation, the guy was doing a lot of talking and threatening and acting tough. In my mind, I just said, I have to kill him to get out of this situation. And I was just quiet. And I just was plotting how to, essentially. And I thought I killed him when I walked out of the room. But yeah, the guys who talk tough, oh, I'm going to do this to you. I feel most of the time they're just scared. They're trying to figure out a way to get out of it by puffing themselves up and scaring you.
Yeah.
If they were serious about doing something to you, they're just going to do it to you. When I did what I did, I didn't say a word.
Yeah.
I quietly did what I had to do to get out of a situation where I thought I was going to die.
Yeah, look at this. When I would teach self-defense courses, I would tell people, and I encourage them to pull up the thing about Mike Tyson and what's his name, Mitch Green.
Mitch Green, yeah.
When Tyson was heavyweight champion of the world, the baddest man on the planet, didn't make the mental switch yet. When Mitch Green came up to him, ripped his pockets open, and took his money, right? And Tyson hesitated because he's trying to understand the situation. Google that. And Tyson says himself, he says, I hadn't been in fighting in 7 years. He's like, I was scared, is first thing he said, right?
Right.
Now, imagine if Mitch Green had a knife and wanted to stab him. Tyson would be gone. Here's a guy with some of the best tools on the planet at his height. If he didn't, he later made the mental switch when Green came at him the second time, whatever, he ended up hitting him. But that just goes to show you got to make this first. And I know personally that shit happened to me. I remember I pulled in a gas station one time, a long time ago, and some Jamaican dude started screaming on me. And I'm like, who is this motherfucker? Like I don't know if I cut him off. I don't know what his beef was, but he had a real strong patois, and I couldn't quite make out what he was talking about. But he got up on me. At first I was like, man, get the out of here. And he's like, me not scared of you. Then he starts like, he gets up in my face and he's like calling me all kinds of clots and I don't know what he's saying.
Clot.
Yeah, Ross clot, pussy clot, clot. I'm like, whoa. I was like, what the? I actually was scared for a second because I couldn't figure out what was happening. But then part of me is like, yo, he's right up on me. And one image I had in my head, because I remember one time on the basketball court, this little dude was talking to this cat that was playing, got in some beef with him, and the big dude that he had the ball in his, it was like just listening to him, whatever. And next thing I know, the little dude with box cutter sliced my man. Big dude slammed him, put him out. But this guy's got a slice across his face for the rest of his life. That resonated with me. That came back when this dude was, I know what I do. And I went like this. I was like, oh shit, he's too close. And I went like this. Just like this. Like no stronger than this. I just kind of went like that. But this hand hit him in the nose. Hit him right in the face. And he was like, Mario, it's blood fire, Batibaro tonight. I was like, which is, I think, a gay donkey? I don't know.
A Batiman is a
but he said Batibaro.
Batibaro.
I think it's a gay donkey. He called me a gay donkey. I don't know what the fuck that. But I went like this, like on some like not heavy shit. I went like this, and there's and then I was like, That's right. All I gotta do is, but I was scared at first.
Yeah.
But then it was like, boom. Oh, it was not like that. But it was, and he left me alone. I don't know what his problem was, but I remember, goddamn, for a second, like I was vulnerable. He could have shanked me or something because he came up on me or whatever. But I was like, nah, man, that's, I have to make that switch. I was busy trying to figure out what his beef was or what he was saying to me. But that resonated. I'm like, I was driving, like just kind of like, I can't let that happen again, But so that's a long, long time ago. But it reinforced the fact that you got to make the mental switch first, because I was vulnerable at that time.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I interviewed Hurricane Chris, who was at a gas station, and some crazy guy walked up to him and tried to like open his car door and had like this huge like piece of concrete in his pocket, and he ended up having to shoot him in self-defense. And he went to court and he took the stand and he ended up beating the case. He was facing murder charges. But yeah, at a gas station, some crazy person approaches you and they're trying to get in your car. And I think he actually had a gun in his car, so he was worried that the guy might get to his gun. Right. And there was just a lot going on very quickly. And, at the end of the day, someone ended up dying. But he was just minding his own business.
Yeah.
And these types of things happen. I mean, we've all run into crazy at some point in our lives. And we've all had to make a decision whether you just try, you try to get out of everything. No one really tries to confront crazy, right? No one goes out of their way to find a crazy person and argue with them. But it comes your way and you have to decide. And luckily, in my cases, I've always just managed to just walk away and get in my car and leave. Because if they're already acting crazy now, who knows what'll happen if there's a confrontation? They might pull out a baseball bat out of their butt. I don't know. Like, you don't know what the hell's going on with this person. So yeah, man, I'm glad you got out of that okay.
Yeah, but it teaches me a lesson.
Yep.
And sometimes you just might have to out crazy somebody else. You just be like, "Where's the Burger King? Where is he?" And nobody's ready for that. And then it's like you just walk on.
That's crazy to me.
Yeah.
Well, Mike Epps recently did an interview, and he said that he was on for most of his movies, including next Friday, All About the Benjamins. He said he would go to an Ice Cube's trailer and just cry and so forth.
Yeah, I saw that. He did my movie.
Which one?
The one I just directed.
Oh, the Trouble Man?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yep. I happen. It's funny you happen to me. I'm lucky. I happen to catch what you're just talking about, and that really hit my heart because Mike was talking about how he came back home and people just wanted him to be doing bad. Is that what you're talking about?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, man. It's like, man, God, man, do I resonate with that. Because you think that the people that you grew up with is going to hold you down, right? And just going to be the same people. But, man, talk about something I learned that, man, people, because of what I did, people I grew up with, change because of what I do now. And you think that they're going to be the same people, but now they don't disagree with you. They hate you for succeeding. Man, and that's like, damn, it's like it snatches your history away from you and people that you loved. 'Cause they change because of what you do. Yeah, and so that really touched my heart, and I know how he felt with that. Because Mike is, man, he's got a great heart. He's coming back to revitalize the neighborhood and do right. And sometimes people, as you've mentioned before, man, they target you because for you, for them, you're a reminder of them not doing well, and it's like they're laughing in your face. And that's something that I wish we really changed. And if we really understand where it came from, we can start to do something about it. Because generations ago, when somebody wanted to prosper, wanted to get educated and get out of the hood, get out of the neighborhood, we down. Older people down and say, no, you ain't nothing but a nick. You ain't no better than nobody else. They did that because they loved you and they didn't want to see you hanging from a tree like so many others had done before. Oh, I want to get educated. I want to learn how to read. Just a few generations ago, you know, like just 160 years ago, fatherhood was not allowed. You couldn't be a father to your children because then the slave master couldn't control everybody. If you had control, okay, if you wanted to learn how to read, you get generation later. You want to prosper, they're going to pull you back down because they love you. No, we don't want to lose you, okay? You stay right here. Emmett Till. No, don't you say nothing to that white woman. All of that. They pulled you down because they loved you. And so we did that generation after generation. And now, when there's no threat of that, we're still doing it because that's what we learned. You know, pull you down. No. You ain't no better than nobody else. And we do that to the ones we love because that's what we were taught to do.
But doesn't this happen in every community?
No.
Like, I mean, you don't think this
No,
happens
it
with
does not.
poor whites? You know,
you
get out of the trailer park, you go back, they're all hating on you, they're all jealous, they're all fucked up, and you're not.
That's a jealousy thing, not a cultural thing to keep you alive.
Okay.
It's another level.
There's a subtlety difference in there. Yeah.
Big difference.
Okay.
Because there was real blood and pain and people hanging from motherfucking trees behind that. Because that one hanging from that tree dared to look a white man in his eye. It's not the same. So then generations of pulling each other down under the guise of love, because our loved ones, our grandparents did it. Our mothers did it. No, baby, you ain't no better. And then our humor, you so black, you so this and that, pulling each other down. Our rap, pulling each other down. You ain't you, nigga, all that kind of stuff. And it was born out of love. That's what's so twisted about it. But, you know, it's what we learned in the Jewish community. Of course, there are certain things that are learned that are, you know, that just are knee-jerk responses. Like there's kind of a thing of guilt or whatever, that you kind of, you know, it's a tradition.
No, guilt is a big part of it.
Right. So, but nobody
Jewish
tells
community.
you to do that. You just learn it from the generations above you. So so this self-hatred has turned into an art form in the Black community. You know, it's been an art form for a very long time. And when one of us starts to, go down, we then dance on their graves or just kind of celebrate that because we've seen it for so long. I had to exercise that shit out of me. I f***ing hate it because that means the goddamn people, that lynch law worked on me. I remember when years ago there was another actor, I'm not going to mention his name, that was a contemporary of mine, ran into some bad luck, and I felt like, And then I was like, wait a minute. Why am I feeling good about this shit? No, that. That made me so goddamn mad at myself. Like, why am I celebrating this brother's demise? That means these motherfuckers, what they did is working on me. And I took that real personal. And I made sure that was not in my system anymore. You know, and so when I see somebody go down, I feel for it. You know, so it's like, I hate to see that prosper. I really hate to see that prosper. And I hate to see it like celebrated. But I, for one, was going to stop doing that shit. Deep down, even when I know it ain't public and I'm secretly celebrating somebody's demise, nah, that's f***ed up. I ain't doing that no more.
Yeah, I mean, generational trauma is such a real thing. Like, I remember with me, because my parents, as Jews, had to move out of communist Russia, where they were the minorities. They were persecuted. They couldn't go to certain schools. They couldn't shop at certain stores. They couldn't have certain types of relationships. And if you somehow fought against it, you would get killed. We've had people we knew that got killed over trying to push back. So we came to this country and there was this fear that was just instilled in me by my parents. Don't fight back. If things get bad, I remember at one point in multiple schools, I had problems with the teachers. Like I remember the vice principal of my junior high threatened me. My parents took me out of the school, put me in a private school. And then I remember in the private school, one of the teachers like slammed me up against the wall and like hurt me, over an argument. And my parents didn't really do anything about it. And I had this thing instilled in me to just don't fight back, walk away, be scared of the unknown. And in the world of hip hop, this doesn't work. In my world and what I do, with the type of interviews I do, it does not work. And I had to teach myself, and through situations like the home invasion, other situations I got into, I had to say that everyone else, I'm not scared of anybody. I will, I'm not the toughest guy in the world, but I'm not going to back down.
Right.
If I need to do something, no one's going to scare me out of my position. And that's what allowed me to be successful in this field. But I had to break that. Yeah. My parents still don't understand it. Well, my dad died. My mom's still alive. But I'm saying they've never understood that part of me. But I had to break that cycle of fear and not standing up against authority of whatever that means, whatever the establishment means, and to fight back and to sit on your position when you feel you're right. Without that, there would be no VladTV.
Absolutely. I was going to say the same damn thing before you said it. It is so necessary, and it made you a balanced person today. Yeah. Because if you didn't do that, if you didn't face that, that's exactly what I'm saying. It's like if you don't do the work yourself, shame on you. Yeah. Because it's not gonna magically endow you, right? So it's like we don't have the same rites of passage as we used to have when we were, like one thing I do admire about, Israel in a situation where, as a man, you have to do your service. You have to, take part in military service. I wish we had that to some degree so we could make more men. Because life has become a lot more soft and there's no rites of passage anymore. You go into manhood without being tested nowadays. The society has been, very, very weak. So you have to then do something yourself. Because anybody who feels like, I've arrived, what have you gone through? Are you really tested? Yeah. And then when life really hits you, and you're in your 30s and you got mortgages and you're facing a divorce and you can't take it and you're like this, it's because you didn't test. You're not tested, but you told yourself, because I have this age and I have these trappings, that I'm ready. I feel sorry for this age group because a lot of them are finding out they're not going through with what the rest of the world is going through when they're still making men in other countries. And we're not. Yeah,
you talk about Israel and Palestine. I publicly said I don't agree with what Netanyahu's doing.
Right. Yeah.
I've said this. I think that it's extremely heavy-handed. I feel that the amount of deaths that's happening in Palestine is unwarranted. But you got all these people in America, free Palestine, the Zionists are evil, they have no right to do anything. None of these people have been in the military. None of them live in Israel and had to deal with the reality of a mass attack where hundreds of people are dying, kidnappings are happening, missiles are constantly being launched against you. You really don't have a right to talk about what's happening in a totally different place without having... The people that are protesting, how many of them have even been to Israel? Yeah, maybe 0%?
Yeah, I don't choose to speak on something until I hear both sides of anything.
There is both sides.
Generally.
I say that both sides are wrong. Mm-hmm. The Palestinians, Hamas is wrong and Israel is wrong. Mm-hmm. I've said this on The Breakfast Club, and I'm Jewish, and I've been to Israel and I've been to Palestine. But what I'm saying is, when you live in a place where missiles are being launched against you every day, they have to have that Iron Dome situation to shoot down missiles. Imagine living like that.
Yeah.
And imagine having to react when things just go over the top. When people are hang gliding into a concert and start opening fire and start kidnapping people. How would you feel if you were on that side? I'm sure it's a little different than going home and watching Netflix at home and having your little Palestinian flag up and protesting. It's a little bit different. Not to say either side is right, but it's a little bit different when you're sitting there on your couch tweeting about it, as opposed to, like you said, every person in Israel who's over the age of 18 has served in the military and has probably seen some level of violence during that tour. Because you're required. This is why a lot of Israeli families move out of the U.S. when their kids start to get a certain age, because they don't want them serving in the military and potentially getting
right.
Because that happens very often.
I got you. Yeah.
It's a little bit different.
Yeah, I mean, not to detour into that. I just basically, I'm mentioning that because of what's going on in this country and with the whole the generation coming up, being able to choose a side, or there was always something that you lived or died for in decades past. You find who you are, and what side you stand on. It's much less of that now because there's. It's not much of an obstacle in life.
It's like, who are you going to tweet about? That's the bigger story now.
You're right, exactly.
Are you going to tweet about this person or that person?
And bless their hearts, it's not the generation's fault.
Yeah.
But it's like you have to police yourself. You have to look deeper. You have to be just like when we talked about when somebody is becoming famous or whatever, you have to police yourself. You have to, when everybody else is kissing your ass, you have to basically find some normalcy. You can't let that shit happen. Getting back to what the whole thing with Mike Epps and how I identified with that so much. I think I talked about one time is that fact that how I lost my own mother, right?
Yeah, you talked about that.
Yeah. How I'm talking to my mother and I'm saying that I'm burying bodies under the crawl space of my house, and she's agreeing with me, and I'm like, lady, are you listening to me?
I met your mother, by the way, very nice lady.
Yeah. No, you didn't. That was my mother-in-law.
Oh, your mother-in-law.
But I call her
mom.
Oh, my bad.
You introduced me as You as your mother. Okay. Okay.
No. But the point is, oh my God, it's like this the cult of personality and celebrity can just drive you off a fucking cliff. And a lot of people. I'm fortunate because I never needed celebrity or money to get women, which is a big flaw in a lot of cats' game, right? Once they get money, then they get women that they never were able to get. And that can drive you into your 60s, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
If cats took control of the sexual, do you understand how much bullshit that they would avoid?
Yeah.
When you think about all of this,
men
R. Kelly,
men are going to be men.
If he handled the sexual, if this, just keep going down the line. That sexual conquest is so deep in the male psyche. It drives us for a lot of the faults. And so if you got that in check, you're going to avoid a whole lot of other things. You're going to understand and be able to not only pick the right woman, but not get caught up with all the dumb. And then, it's like, why are you going to, sometimes you go, okay, you think that's a dime piece? The one with all this fakeness all about her? That's who you want to raise your children? Think about it. You thinking in the moment, or so. But it's a thing. So if folks, I don't know. I remember when I was with Jim Brown and in the troop when we were doing a lot of things in prisons. We did this thing where we would be talking to a lot of inmates, and one time we had about 60, and we everybody who didn't think that they were inside because of a woman thing, we broke it down, and everybody in there realized the root to why they were in prison was from a woman, or the sexual thing. You know, it's like, you know, so I had to make money. Why? Because I have, and then so you could get what? Okay, you're done. Okay, you so and so. Why? Because he was disrespecting me. Why? Because I was, because I was the, he was in front of a woman. Okay, yep. We just kept doing that, and it's like, man, if people just even if a rites of passage were to figure out that early on.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like most beef between men is over a woman, but they rarely admit to it. It's always the secret that they just chose not to mention.
Yeah, it's like, no, I didn't shoot him over the $5. It was the principle of the thing. All right, and then you just go, the principle of the thing. Yeah, because I ain't gonna be when you keep track, you're gonna be because when it comes down to it, you want to be that dominant male that gets the women. So
no, I mean, there's a story we reported on in Atlanta where this guy basically killed his best friend over $35, and the guy looked like he was about 60.
But it's never over $35.
Yeah. It's over something else.
It's over the principle of the situation. Because you were disrespecting me.
Yeah. You think you can play with me, huh?
Right.
I'm going to show you.
Exactly.
Well, you showed him.
Yeah.
And now you're in prison for the rest of your life.
Exactly.
And this was like your best friend.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a very interesting time right now. Drea, who's 39 years old, is having a child with NBA player Jalen Green, who's 22. Actually the same age as her oldest son. Then you have Larsa Pippen, who's 49, who was dating Marcus Jordan, Michael Jordan's son, who was 33. Cher, who's 77, her boyfriend is 37. And it was actually just announced for the first time ever, China is actually changing its zodiac signs, and this year will be the year of the cougar.
That's another joke. Okay, I'm starting to get it.
I feel like, men have always done this, right? Men have always had relationships with younger women, especially as they get older.
Yeah, yeah.
But now I feel like the women are now publicly parading around their younger men.
Like 2%.
But what I'm saying is it's becoming more acceptable.
1.4%
yeah.
of women are doing that. 1.4% of women can do that. Well, an older broad that's not Cher rich could do that. Or Larissa Pippen rich can do that.
So you think it's a money thing?
Yeah. Yeah.
But hold on.
You think it's a wrinkle thing? Like, I'm into those wrinkles, man. I'm this young dude. I just love those extra folds of skin. What do you think it is? It's not money.
I don't know. I think that I think there's a certain cutoff. So I think that it's intriguing for a man in his 20s to get with a woman in her 40s. It's intriguing. It's taboo. It's exotic. It's different. Now, would they get with a woman in her 70s? No. Unless, of course, you're Amber Rose's baby father. But then again, you're talking about Cher, who's probably worth hundreds of millions of dollars.
Amber Rose, she has a target on her. There's a thing, and then she looks like
Amber Rose is dating a younger guy too. Last I checked.
Yeah, but I'm saying there's a cougar thing. Cougarism is about like money as well, or status.
The president of France. Have you ever heard his story?
No.
Okay. The president of France when he was in high school, started dating his teacher, who was like 20 years older than him.
Okay.
Everyone thought that he was dating her daughter, who they're the same age as, but no, he was dating her.
Mm-hmm.
When his parents found out, they sent him to boarding school to try to keep them apart. He got out, and they ended up getting married, and they're married right now. And she's like way older than him. Let me see.
Well, okay, yeah, of course. There's always going to be these weird scenarios, but that's not the norm, man.
24-year age difference between these two.
But that's not the norm. That's so not the norm. That dude, there's a lot of things that are not the norm. And I'm not going to, he could be in the wrinkles. I don't know.
Hey, people into MILFs. MILF is the thing.
Yeah, right, yeah.
There's a whole MILF porn genre that's very popular.
But I don't think there's guys that MILFs and only MILFs. I don't think there's the only MILFs club.
Only MILF?
Yeah, I don't think, because it's like, it's like a MILF, hot chick, MILF. and if you have the choice
Well, Usher has had a thing for older women. In fact, I interviewed one of his ex-wives who was a lot older than him.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, some men want that motherly, I don't get it myself. It's never been my thing, but I don't know. You've seen this, and Usher can get any woman he wants. He's Usher. He is Usher.
That doesn't, no. When people say any woman he wants,
Usher can get access to a lot of beautiful women his own
yes,
age.
I agree with that.
It's Usher. He's a superstar. He's been one for a
There are
long
people
time.
who don't care. A real woman does not care.
I understand that, but what I'm saying is, I don't think Usher's sitting at home saying, no woman wants me. Every girl I've ever approached has turned me down.
But the whole every woman thing, no.
Okay, no one can get everyone they want, but I'm saying that certain people have more accessibility than others.
Of course.
The garbage man who takes out the garbage on Usher Street does not have the accessibility of Usher.
But do you understand, when you say women, the women who Usher can get just by virtue of being Usher, that's so, it's so like plastic. You know what I mean? So they're treating him, they want to get with him because he's Usher. So you calls in question what type of women they are, right? So they're tantamount to, just groupies or prostitutes or whatever. You know what I'm saying? So it's not really, nothing's real there. It's like, oh, I want to screw this guy that I don't know who's a fantasy of mine. I think I know. You don't really know him. So it's like, that's some bullshit on every level. So it's not like I don't look at it as a bunch of, like if somebody I never got with a groupie in my life. Never. It couldn't possibly happen. Because I got too much real to compare it to.
Yeah,
so some chick that
I don't know if I can make the same claim, but
yeah, but
I can't make the same.
Claim.
That's
it's like
okay.
It's nice.
I'm human.
It's nice to be admired by someone, but I don't know. I would not put you with the women that I've been with. You a groupie, like you don't even freaking know who I am. You just want, and I'm going to take pride. I don't care how fine you are. You want to get with me because you see me on TV? Get out of here. Get the out of here. That's crazy.
Marvin Gaye, his first wife, who was Anna Ruby Gordy, Berry Gordy's sister, I believe, was 17 years older than him. 17 years.
And married to the boss. And the boss's sister.
Boss's sister. They were married, they dated for 2 years and then they got married. And they got divorced.
Yeah, you're like cherry picking through history.
I am. It's what I do. It's what I do. I'm just saying it happens. I'm just saying, look.
It happens.
You're not going to tell me.
But a lot of these things are circumstantial.
Right. You're not going to tell me every high school kid had a crush on some female teacher in their school.
They were fine, yeah. Hopefully.
Everyone had a cute teacher in their school they wish they could have gotten.
Hell yeah, man. Shoot. Your hormones are raging.
Exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
Shoot. Anything with a pulse.
This is why you hear these crazy
ankles.
stories of, a teacher caught having sexual relations with her students. It happens sometimes.
It happened to me.
It happened to you.
Yeah.
Oh, she was your teacher?
No, not that one.
Okay. Talking about your first.
Remember, I looked like a grown ass man when I was 15.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Yeah, man, listen, it happens. It's certain people's things. And sometimes it's like, I don't know. Everyone chooses a path of least resistance.
That's true.
If you are starting to see that women in your age range are not interested in you, but older women seem to be, you will start to gravitate towards the women who seem to be more interested than you.
True.
In you. You know what I'm saying? And then over time, you just start to develop a certain fondness of a certain type of woman.
Well, sometimes I feel like if your first was that, you tend to start looking for that.
Right. My first real relationship in college was with a black girl. She was actually black and Japanese.
Mm-hmm.
And if you look at my history, 90% of my long-term relationships was with black women.
Yeah.
I don't think that I intended to do this. It just happened. For years we dated. It was my first real sexual relationship, you know, long-term sexual relationship. It became my preference, and it became who I was comfortable with. It was the type of women I would approach more often. And over time, the type of women who approached me more often. It's like I'd get approached by more black girls than white girls.
Yeah.
Easy. Easy. By a 10-to-1 ratio. And after a while, it just becomes your thing. It's not conscious. It just becomes your thing. I think sometimes with certain men, older women become their thing.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it was, I was dating older women because I was younger, but then I was, I was used to that early on. And then my mother actually pointed this out because I tried to get her to remember one of the girls I was dealing with. And she said, Michael, all your girlfriends look like that singer with the big forehead.
Who is that?
Sade.
Sade.
And I'm like, Ma, I said, oh shit, I got a Sade thing. And I certainly did. Like I started going, oh shit, everybody looks like Sade. That was my weakness.
I would say.
And my wife's birthday and Sade's birthday is the same day.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a weird thing. She was right. Yeah.
A final question before I let you go. Since our last interview, we lost Carl Weathers.
Oh, yeah.
I remember I was at a party with him, and I think I was just kind of maybe starstruck to a certain degree. So I didn't walk up and speak to him and try to get him to do an interview and stuff like that. I regret it now because I think it'd be a hell of an interview because he has a hell of a story.
Man, I wish you would have called me.
Oh, you knew him?
Yes.
Oh, I had no idea. Would you say that there would be no Rocky franchise without Carl Weathers?
No, I wouldn't say that.
Really?
No, somebody else would have had to play the role.
Yeah, but he nailed it so well. And the magic and chemistry between him and Sylvester Stallone was so great that I can't imagine taking Carl out of that role and putting someone else in.
Yeah, I get what you're saying, but there's a lot.
And remember, he was in the first two movies.
True, but I mean, not to disparage Carl Weathers, I love the man, but I would just naturally think somebody else would have played it. The fact that movie was written so well, that provides the lineage, for that. I don't think one character or a supporting character would make that much of a difference, to be honest with you.
Okay.
It would have had to been cast by somebody that, even if they weren't as good as Carl, that story was a big story, and it was So who knows if some real boxer or Ken Norton or somebody would have had to play it.
Yeah, I mean, I think the big shock with that film back then was that Rocky lost at the end. And that was sort of like a huge plot twist, because usually when you see a boxing movie, the main character wins at the end and he beats the guy and everyone loves him. But Rocky actually loses.
Yeah, so it's like a Chuck Wepner story. as the real Rocky.
The real Rocky, yeah.
Yeah, which is, I mean, I love. I think Sylvester did such an amazing job. People forget that he wrote that movie.
He wrote it and did he direct it?
No, he might as well been.
Yeah.
But he stuck to his guns.
Right.
Played the lead. Like
Well, they wanted to replace him. I heard the movie companies wanted the film, but they wanted to cast someone else instead of him and offer him a huge check.
Yes,
he
absolutely,
said no.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he, think about that, like how amazing that is, and I can't imagine someone else doing that role other than him. And shoot, we talked about it one other time. I thought I think it was the 5th version of it that he should have been nominated for an Academy Award. I thought he did so well.
Well, he won. Did he win the Oscar for that film?
Oh yeah, he won it for the for the film, the first one. But I think his performance in I think 5 was tremendous.
Yeah, here we go. Best Picture, Best Director, Best Film Editing, Best Actor, Best Actress, Best Supporting Actor. Wait, did he win all these? Hold on a second. Wait, hold on. This is crazy.
Well, yeah.
Yes, he won for Best Picture. There's a nominee for Best Actor, which he didn't win. Nominee for Best Actress, for his wife.
Talia Shire. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Nominee for Best Actor Supporting Role for the trainer.
Mm-hmm.
Nominee for Best Actor Supporting Role for Burt Young. Won for Best Director. Nominated for Best Writing Screenplay, written directly for the screen.
76, right?
Nominee, 77. Nominee for Best Sound. Winner for Best Film Editing, and nominee for Best Music Original Score.
Yeah.
So a whole bunch of wins, a bunch of nominations. Basically, that movie swept the Oscars.
Yeah, but there was no. And so when we're talking about the Carl Weathers component,
Carl actually wasn't nominated for it.
Right, but I think he really shined in the second one. That's when that was when it called on a lot more of his acting prowess, really, because they then had that connection and kinship and in the end of that movie. So that's when really Carl really showed Carl. So in the first one, the mandate wouldn't have been as strong. So it would have been, but of course he like I say, he shined in the second one. And I think because of it being Carl Weathers, they had the ability to do that in that second one.
Right, but outside of Rocky, there was a lot of classic films. A lot. Predator.
Yeah.
Yeah. He was in The Mandalorian most recently. Oh, hold on a second. Action Jackson.
Yeah.
Let me see. What other films did he do? Rocky 2 and Rocky 3 and Rocky 4. He got Rocky 4, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Ivan Drago.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then, all his features like in Happy Gilmore, Little Nicky.
If we talk about
man, a bunch of stuff.
Yeah. I mean,
he's done 80 films. Yeah, man, hell of a career.
Yeah, and hell of a guy too. Very positive. It was a shock. It was a big shock to me because that man stayed in the gym. I see him at Gold's all the time. He was an inspiration.
He was 76.
Yeah, he didn't
relatively young, but not that young. 76. And my dad lived to 84, so I kind of hold that as a measuring stick to a certain degree. 76. You also don't know what was happening underneath the hood.
Right, yeah.
You don't know what his personal habits were.
And then the man I had sitting right here beside me, Fred.
Yeah, for Fred the Hammer
80s.
Williamson.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, like 10 years older.
Yeah, still smoking cigars.
Yeah. Yeah, but I mean, if we start talking about black actors who don't get their just due, man, we could be here for hours and hours and hours.
I think he got his just due. I think ultimately he was loved, respected, and he was still doing Disney films. He was doing Star Wars films, series by the end. I mean, that's the top of the food chain when it comes to TV.
Yeah.
So I think people still loved him and respected him and really respected his craft.
Mm-hmm.
I don't feel like
but
I don't feel like he was underrated or he was broke or anything else.
No,
like that.
not that.
But
But still, I mean, there could have been an Action Jackson 5. You know,
Could have been.
And, you know, it's just that, you know, when we get up to bat, it's not quite the same. But me, there's so many people. I'm in awe of so many people who I wish would get their just due. I mean, I couldn't be a bigger Blair Underwood fan or just like when I just sit there and I just go, oh my God, we have so many incredible actors. I mean, there's to me, there's unsung, the Glenn Plumbers out there, man, the T.K. Carters. There so many people, man, that I think are just, they should, you know, be, I don't know. I just want to make a difference. And, you know, I want to see them get what they deserve. And the Carl Weathers and all that, I don't want to see them pass this earth without really celebrating how amazing they actually are.
When I just looked it up, Action Jackson didn't get the best, got mostly negative reviews, and it was a minor box office success. Mm-hmm. It cost about $10 million to make, and it made $20 million at the box office. Mm-hmm. So it was one of these kind of cult classics. I think all of us watched it, and all of us really liked it, but it wasn't a huge success, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So that's why you didn't see, it wasn't as big as Rocky. Let's put it that way.
No.
So that's why you didn't see Action Jackson Part 8, 9, 10 like you did with the Rocky movies that are still being made with Michael B. Jordan.
Yeah, there's a marketing arm to that. And there's a story behind it, So
there is.
Yeah.
There is. Yeah. That's what it is. Michael Jai White, man. Always a pleasure.
My pleasure, my brother.
Until next time.
All right.
Peace.